Hi, folks. It's the people from Eurovision Ireland, and we're back with our final review of the songs for the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest. You should have already seen our reviews of the songs taking part in each of the two semi-finals. We're now left with the 6 songs that are already through. They don't have to worry about Tuesday or Thursday. They're already in that big show on the Saturday night. How will they do? Yeah. I'll quickly introduce the team. We've got Rich.
Hiya.
James.
Hi, everyone.
We've got Bogdan.
Hi, everyone.
We've got Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
And me, Staggy. And he seems quite excited tonight. I don't know why. Maybe there's a song in here he really likes as well. So yeah, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Ukraine, and UK. We're going to kick off with France. Now, of course, we don't know the running orders for all of these countries yet. That will happen during Eurovision week. So we're going to start with France, the first alphabetically. Their song is called Évidemment, I think, and it's by Zarra. And to lead on this one, it's over to you, Rich.
Bonjour. It sounds very Parisian. It's sort of the music you'd hear when you're walking about the capital. And I watched the official video for this. It gave me sort of Art Deco vibes, the background. That's the impression I get what sort of staging will look like. But that's obviously only an assumption. It's not it is definitely. It's upbeat in an arty way. And I say that because she doesn't move fluidity. It's sort of, I don't quite know how to describe it, but it worked. Zarra vocally is good. And I think it's back to what France do well. After a couple of junior Eurovision wins, I think they're really out for really trying hard at Eurovision again. So, yeah, it's quite a good one for me.
Yeah, okay. Now, as you've seen in the previous shows, we each give the song a score out of 10. So there's a maximum score of 50 available. A minimum score of, well, we won't worry about that. They're all going to score some points at least. So leading off, Rich, what is your score?
I think France might surprise us. I'm going to give it a 9.
9. Okay. James, what's your score?
I'm going to give it a 10. It's one of my favourites this year.
Okay. Bogdan?
9.
9. And Sarah?
9 from me.
9. See, I thought I was going to be the high voter, and it turns out I'm only giving it an 8. So I made that gives it a score of 46. Yeah, score of 46, 45. 45. The right score will appear around us anyway, if I get it wrong. Moving on, we're going to Germany now. Oh, Germany, yes. Their song is called Blood and Glitter, which could be the story of any Eurovision semi-final, and it's performed by Lord of the Lost. And it's over to you, James.
Oh my goodness, Germany. Where do we even begin? I think it's fair to say Germany have had a bit of a difficult relationship with Eurovision recently. It either tends to do very well or very badly. There's very little that falls in between. The moment I heard this, I was like, this has to go to Liverpool just because it's so different, really. I think is the nicest way I could describe that. Watching Lords of the Lost perform, there are sort of elements of punk in there, a bit of glam rock. There's a lot going in there. It sort of puts me in mind slightly of sort of Ziggy Stardust, but there's sort of elements of drag in there. I mean, blood and glitter are not two things I'd immediately think of mixing, and hopefully no one else does because that sounds really painful. But yeah, this is just a little belter. You've got the deep throaty vocals, the screaming. I was like, this is going to go big in Liverpool. I think the arena is going to go absolutely wild for this. What's it going to do on the scoreboard? I have a feeling that it'll be the kind of thing that will either grab everyone's attention and it will sort of do sort of top 10, lower top 10 very easily, or it will completely bypass everyone and end up at the bottom of the heap, which is, I think, what happens a lot with German Eurovision entries, which is a real shame. I would like to see this one do well because, I just applaud the fact it is so different. And yeah, it's going to be one of the talking points of the contest.
Thanks, James. Definitely a talking point. And not many Eurovision performers this year could say they've actually met King Charles III. You've also got to give this a score out of 10.
Oh, score. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. And Bogdan, what's your score for this one?
I think a 7 as well.
And Sarah?
I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay. It's getting a 6 from me. And Rich?
Germany deserved to do well after the last few years, and I just pray they're not put on right after an advert break when people might not be back in the room. So 7.
Okay. That makes a score of 32. Not bad. Not bad at all. Right, moving on. We're going to Italy. Those masters of the song who I still say could win any year they choose to. They just don't always choose to. This year they're sending Eurovision veteran Marco Mengoni and his winner from Sanremo, Vite. Bogdan's leading on this one. Over to you.
It's very difficult to speak about Italy and Eurovision and not think about the passion, the poetry in their songs. And this year is no exception. As soon as I heard for the first time at Sanremo, Marco Mengoni and his song Vite, I was so impressed. And it's such an emotional song. It's sang with such a conviction. And even if you don't know Italian, you still feel the emotion of the song. This year is actually one of my favorite songs. I could listen to it all day long. And yeah, it's very powerful, emotional. It's sang from the heart. And I just love Marco Mengoni anyway. So yeah, it's a really beautiful song and I love it.
Bogdan. Yeah, it's be interesting to see how the 4-minute cut is cut down to 3 minutes when it's performed on the 13th of May. And more importantly, what's your score out of 10 for this one?
Well, no wonder I give it a 10.
10 from Bogdan. And Sarah?
I'm going to give it an 8.
8. It's getting a 10 from me. I think it is utterly exquisite, absolutely exquisite. And I wouldn't be disappointed if we go back to Italy next year at all, really. Even you might. Richard, what's your score for Italy? 9. Okay. And James?
I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8. So we have another song that's also scored 45. Who'd have thought it? 2 of the big 5 already scoring 40 from us. We go to Spain next. Now they've got some of the most passionate fans out there. Can passionate fans translate into a Spanish victory? It's by Blanca Paloma, nothing to do with the Polish Blanca at all. And it's called Eaea, I think, how I pronounce it. And again, it's back over to Bogdan.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Yeah. This song, you either hate it or love it. So I haven't heard it between, it's meh. So either you actually love it, or you actually dislike it a lot. I don't know. I started the song. I wasn't really convinced to begin with. Seeing it perform at the Eurovision pre-parties in different cities around Europe, I really love how the new intro gives it a more intimate and powerful meaning. I'm not sure though that Spain will include that intro in the performance. With that intro, I think it's brilliant. Without the intro, it's a bit too in your face. But I do admire the art behind it, the flamenco style, the empowerment. Paloma has a brilliant voice. The rhythm is there. You can't say you're bored at this performance. You keep on watching and what's happening next, and she's really there to serve you a really good performance. So I applaud Spain for choosing something traditional, but also something very interesting to present to the Eurovision audience this year.
Thanks, Bogdan. Yeah, something very Spanish, something only Spain can do, really, this one is. And again, you've got to give it a score out of 10.
You know, John, I'm really struggling because I really love some parts, I really don't like some parts, but at the same time, I said I appreciate the art of it. So because I'm in between, I'm gonna give it a 7.
7. Okay, not a bad score. Sarah, what's your score for Spain?
I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's quite unique, really, and it's going to stand out just purely for the fact that it's very traditional Spanish.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6, and that's mainly because I like flamenco, and we need to get past the travesty that Kiemba Barker in 1983 scored a big fat 0. So for that, he gets a 6 from me. Richard, what's your score for Spain?
Sorry, 4.
4. Okay. And James?
I'm going to give it a 6. Like Sarah and Bogdan, I applaud the fact that it's a very unique fusion, very traditional and very modern. I just have no idea how that's going to translate on the scoreboard. I feel like it might be a bit too niche and a bit too Spanish, but happy to be proved wrong.
Yeah, okay. That scores a 30 out of 50. Next, we go to Ukraine. This year's winners, and to a degree, the co-host this year, because they're having a lot of input into the production of Liverpool. Theirs was one of the first national finals. In fact, it probably was the first national final of this season. And they ended up picking a song called Heart of Steel by Tvorchi. Bit of a departure from some of the stuff that they could have put in. But Sarah, what have you got to say about the Ukrainian song?
Right, well, first of all, I'm actually pleased that they've actually stuck with the act that was selected this year, which is nice. So with Ukraine, you can always rely on Ukraine to pick something that's sort of going to be sort of so that's going to sort of have some appeal in some way. I have to say that I was quite surprised with the selection of Tvorchi, because as you said, John, it is something that's really gone quite away from some of the traditional stuff that Ukraine have done. When you think back to last year and the rap and the the rap and sort of the sort of very jolly sort of the band playing, yeah, and then you get now we're on to electro pop, which. And this very kind of sort of dark sort of staging, sort of very mystical about it, and talking about Heart of Steel. I have to say that I do like this, and it's something that I would actually listen to on the radio if I was driving along in my car. Now, obviously, there's been a lot sort of said on social media about the prospects of Ukraine winning again. Is there going to be the diaspora out there that's going to sort of vote for it in droves again, as happened last year with the public vote? This has got the ability to pick up a lot of public votes, probably not to the extent of last year, but I think it's going to score enough to get them into the top 10. Yeah. As I say, it's this kind of song that it's going to either appeal to you or it's not going to. I think the younger generation will like it. I think it's definitely more targeted at the televote to get them out of and they will get out of the semi-final. I've got no doubts about that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting what they do. Oh, they're not in the semi-final, are they? So I'm not half awake. I'm half awake tonight. So it's going to be interesting how they do. Will they make the top 5? Will they make the top 10? It's going to be interesting. And I think a lot will depend on how the juries vote.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, you can never, ever write Ukraine off. They know how to do the contest. Even without the event of the last 12 months, they know how to do the contest. And a bit like Italy, they potentially could win any time they choose to. Anyway, you need to give this a score out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah. Okay. I'm giving it a 7. Keep it simple like that. Richard, what's your score?
I'm giving it a 6 because I don't think it will score as well as people think it will.
Okay. James?
I'm going to give it a 7. I think it will most likely get Ukraine their usual spot in the top 10. How high up that top 10, I think, as Sarah said, is going to depend a lot on the juries. Because Kalush Orchestra would have come fourth with nothing from the jury last year. So there's a lot of luck for Ukraine out there.
And Bogdan?
I'll give it a 7 as well.
That's a pretty steady 35 out of 50. And of course, Ukraine already know where they're performing. They're performing 19th out of 26 in the grand final. Finally, last but not least, is the United Kingdom, host country. And it's fair to say the BBC have put an awful lot of effort into this. They are really selling it this year. You can't move on the various BBC audio, video, sounds, streams, Eurovision stuff this year. And that can only be a good thing. Because those of us that have stuck through Eurovision, through the leaner years, it's about time. And the BBC, if you are watching, thank you for doing what you're doing, and just keep it up. All right. So onto the song. It's called "I Wrote a Song," and it's by Mae Muller, who co-wrote it. But for the purpose of this, she wrote a song. And to take us, give us his views on this one, it's over to Richard.
Can I just say thank you to the BBC as well, because they're putting the semi-finals on radio for the first time as well. And I know people that can't watch the semi-finals but can listen to the radio, so thrilled in that respect. But anyway, back onto our entry. The BBC know what they're doing now. After Samurai the last year, they've kept the same selection format. And I think they've picked well. Obviously, we've been able to judge Mae Muller's live performances because she's done all the preview parties. If we take the Warsaw one out because her voice wasn't well, at least she still performed. But gradually, over all the other preview parties, she's got the crowd going. And, after each performance, she's learnt and got better from it. She's performing in 26th place in the grand final, so she's last on stage. So by the time she comes on, the crowd are going to be really ready for her. So I don't think the UK are going to do too badly this year. Whether it will do as well as Spaceman, I don't think so. It's doing well in the OJE fan club polls. I don't think it's missed out in any of the top 10s yet, but I could be wrong. I could easily see this doing top 10. As John said, Mae Muller's appeared everywhere across the BBC, no matter what show it is. 1 minute it could be BBC Breakfast, next minute it could be the One Show, then it could be something on the radio during the middle of the day. But yeah, I think the BBC have got this right this year with Mae Muller, and so long it continue.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah. What's your score out of 10?
8.
For the UK song. 8. Okay. And James?
I'm going to give it an 8 as well, and I think the fact this is performing last is going to go down an absolute storm in the arena as the home entry, effectively. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. Bogdan?
8 as well. Love it.
8, Sarah?
10. I absolutely love it. And I think if she nails the performance, it's top 10.
And it's going to get an 8 from me. I think, yeah, being last on may not quite be the best draw, but it's the draw, pretty much. Okay, I'll do a quick recap of these 6 songs, and then we'll go around the room for any final comments. So on 6th place, on 30 points, we have Spain. Just wait for the flag there. On 5th place, we have Germany on 32. In 4th place, I forgot my numbers then, we have Ukraine on 35. In 3rd place on 42, we have the United Kingdom. And our joint winners from this little clutch of songs on 45, France and Italy. That looks nice there. There's two tricolours there side by side. So I'll quickly go around the room. Final views on maybe this clutch of songs and maybe all of the songs that we reviewed over this season. Richard, you want to lead off, please?
I think if we look at potential winners from this little show, you can't discount France or Italy. Although saying that, I think they may have a tough job behind Sweden and Finland.
Yeah. James?
I think out of this bunch of songs, as we said earlier, there are a few sort of ones that in a week, a year could be default winners, something like Ukraine, Italy. I think even France or the UK could surprise us and sort of finish second or third. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see what happens with this group of songs.
James. Bogdan, what do you think?
I think at least 3 songs from this lot will be in top 10, definitely. Maybe higher, who knows? We shall see. But because at the moment, my still favorite is still Cha Cha Cha, and I wanted desperately for Finland to win. No matter how much I love Italy, and I want Italy to win as well, but still, I'm still a Cha 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 Cha.
Thanks, Bogdan. Sarah, what do you think?
I think this is a very strong group of songs, and I wouldn't be surprised to see France challenge Finland and Sweden quite hard. We could possibly see a Barbara Pravi type result.
Okay, yeah, I have to agree. I mean, for years and years and years, the big five were not really pulling their weight. It could be argued. Well, maybe one of them was. But the past couple of years, France finished runners-up a couple of years ago. The UK finished runners-up, Spain behind them. This is a good clutch of songs on the whole. Yeah, France could do something special. Italy could do something special. Even the UK and even Ukraine. So we can never ever write the Ukraine off. Never write Ukraine off at all. Of the other ones, yeah, I think Sweden and Finland could be the ones to watch out for. But someone like, let's say, Austria could spring an interesting surprise. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So there you have it. This is the 7th and final show dealing with the 2023 songs. Tell us what you think. Have you enjoyed our views? Do you think that a song that scored 19 points off us from one of the reviews is going to do really well and confound us completely and prove that we know nothing about this beautiful contest that you'll watch? Do you agree with us? Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, you can find us on Eurovision.net, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, probably on TikTok as well. Who knows what we're going to crop up. We're going to be hopefully covering as much as we can in Liverpool. So stay tuned for the coverage that we're going to be putting on from there. And enjoy the show, and may the best songs win. So as a final goodbye, we'll go around the room. So it's goodbye from Richard.
Bye.
And from James.
Bye, everyone.
And Bogdan.
Bye.
And Sarah.
Bye, everyone.
And me. And Staggy. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.